Hello and welcome. If you like another level of organization and categorization, you can actually integrate Evernote with a very popular application called Trello. And Trello allows you to manage lists as well as individual items. And while Evernote allows you to archive individual items, you can combine the two in an integration in Zapier. Evernote and Trello have about 11 total integrations. And so as soon as you find the integration that best fits, you can start the integration process between the two applications. For example, you can actually have a Trello card created from an Evernote note. You can have that Evernote note created from a specific workbook of your choosing. So let's use this particular Zap to set it up, knowing that you'd use the same process to do any of the other Zaps that you see in the Evernote and Trello integrations. So what we're going to do is we're going to click Use this Zap. Once we do that, we're going to click Create this Zap. We then have our Evernote trigger, and then we're going to select our Evernote account. Once again, we're going to reauthorize Zapier with Evernote. And that brings us back to our Zap. So we're going to click Save and Continue after our test. And then we're going to choose the notebook that we are going to be using. We'll then click Continue. Once we have verified that we actually have a task that is being collected, we're going to click Fetch and Continue. Now what we're going to do is we're going to click Continue. And in order to connect Trello, what we're going to do is to start the process with the Create Card link. Then we are going to connect our Trello account. Trello is going to ask us to let Zapier use our account. We're going to say yes. Then we're going to click Allow. And then our Trello account will then be connected to Zapier. We're going to click Save and Continue. Then we're going to choose a specific Trello board. And we're going to choose the one that we created. We're going to choose a list within that board. And then we're going to click Continue. So now all we need to do is to send a test to Trello. Once we note that Zapier has sent the card, we can then check our Trello account. And we can see that our note is inside of Trello. So we can now click Finish. So now our Zap is working, and that means that Trello and Evernote are now connected. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Welcome back. There are several integrations available between the popular storage app Dropbox and Evernote. And you'll notice that there are about 6 integrations that you can do with the third-party app Zapier. You want to note which one you actually want to use. For example, maybe if you want to send a Dropbox file to Evernote, what you'll do is you will click Use this Zap. So in this case, what Zapier is going to do is it's going to watch the folder you choose in Dropbox. When you upload files there, it's going to create a note and then send the link to your Evernote. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and click Create this Zap. We're then going to click the trigger, and then we're going to connect a Dropbox account. What you're going to do is you're going to allow Zapier to access your Dropbox. Once you have your files synced and you have tested, you will then click Save and Continue. We will actually choose a folder in Dropbox. And here's our folder, Creating Content with Evernote. Then we're going to click Continue. We're going to do a test through Zapier. And you'll notice that Zapier says that we did not have a file, so we're going to have to go ahead and place a file there. We can now verify that our file is now in Dropbox. So now let's go back to Zapier. And we are now back at our fetch and continue step. So we're going to click continue. Our test is now successful. We'll then click continue. We're now going to go to the next step where we create the note in Evernote. We're going to test our connection and then click save and continue. We're going to need to select a notebook inside of Evernote. So we will click the email content and copy notebook. We'll want to give our note a title. And then we want to give that note a little content. Since there is going to be another URL, you don't have to include any other information. If you want to include some of the information requested in the advanced, you can. For example, if you want to include tags, but this is going to be an automated process. So if you know there are going to be different files, you may not want to designate those tags ahead of time. So once you've completed everything that you want your post to say, we're going to click continue. And then we now have our Zap set up. We'll now click send test to Evernote. And now a test note has been sent to Evernote. So we should be able to check to find out if something is actually working correctly. And you'll notice now that our link has been directed into Evernote along with the text that we have. So now we can click finish. In some cases, you may have an error, and then if that's the case, you'll want to correct it. And once you do that, Zapier will confirm that your automation is working. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. Now in this video, we're going to talk about the overall direction of the course. Now Evernote is a well-known and used application for note-taking and organizing the information we come in contact with every day. It is adaptable to the way that we choose to organize the voluminous amount of information that we use. It provides us a searchable database for our information. While the course will reintroduce some of those technical features, its focus is on tracking your activity on different popular sites, applications, and web apps, and then using the power of Evernote's adaptable and searchable system for archiving this information. Therefore, some of the time will be attended to doing the basics of documenting the process, but most of the time will be spent on automation. Now, the focus of the course is to help you to use Evernote to work smarter. And that means that we'll feature website applications such as Google Drive, Zapier, and IFT, or If This Then That. Then you'll be shown the practical setup of each of these applications and how they interact with Evernote. You'll then see how you can adapt, choose, and set up your own individual system for automating and archiving your information. So with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. In conclusion, now Evernote is an application that is adaptable to the way you categorize and organize your information. It's a great way of being able to organize those things that you personally think are important from day to day. Now you can keep track of all of that information in real time on your desktop, on the web, and on your mobile device and have them all agree. Now, what isn't so obvious, though, is how you chronicle your information and your activity and also track that activity in Evernote. Now, because our individual online worlds are so complex, we need ways to make it easy to figure out what we've done day to day and where online we've actually done it. And we've seen in this course that you can use automation features in Evernote to do that, and how you can do it so that you don't have to manually create an entry in Evernote. And we've seen that Evernote has its own set of direct applications. Now we've also seen that the website IFT has recipes that connect our activity to Evernote. And lastly, we've been able to see that the site Zapier can take our business-related activity and automate posts in Evernote. Zapier even provides us a way of being able to work on a document and update it in WordPress. Now, since Evernote comes at a cost, it's a good idea to start with the most features to discern whether or not you'll actually need them. Of course, you can then downgrade to the level that you operate in your life and in your business. Okay, so thank you very much for your attentiveness, and I will see you either in another video or in another course. Welcome back. Now in this video, we're going to discuss pricing options. And so first, what we're going to do is we're going to discuss what's available in the free version of Evernote. Now all free versions include unlimited total storage. So there's no limit on how much you can actually upload into Evernote. You can also share notebooks with other individuals. So everything that you have in terms of your content, you can actually give other people access to those pages, those notes, those notebooks, whether it's for using or working. You can also search your printed and handwritten text in your images. And all of your data is going to be encrypted, so it will not be insecure inside of Evernote. You can actually have a passcode lock on your mobile app. So that means then that you have even another level of security to your data. Make notes on your images. And if you are a user of Salesforce.com, you can actually integrate your personal notes inside of the files that you use inside of Salesforce. Now you'll also know that there are limits on how much you can upload depending on what level you have. Now the basic in this case is the free version. So you're limited to 60 megabytes of data on a monthly basis if you're going to be uploading into Evernote. And of course those limits go up as you go up in price. The same is true for the maximum note size. So if you're talking about how big of a note can you actually place inside of Evernote, at one time, you are going to want to be mindful of the level at which you are paying. Now, one of the keys is understanding how you're going to use Evernote. And as you'll notice, when we're talking about both premium and business, there are going to be some things that are going to be missing from the free version. For example, if you need to scan and digitize business cards, you'll not be able to do that in the free version. Or if it would be handy for you to turn your notes into presentations, you will not be able to do that in the free version. So these are things that you definitely want to keep in mind, and you probably want to take a look at the premium version, which is the highest version, and then determine which of those features you are not going to be using. And if you are going to be collaborating, you'll almost definitely need an Evernote business account. So now that you've seen what's available in the free version, we want to make note of those things that are only available for paid subscribers. If you're going to be syncing your data across all of your devices, then you will need a paid version. If you're going to use the free version, you can only use 2 devices. Now, just so that you'll know, the web is not considered to be a device. So if you're going to be using your browser for Evernote, you will not be charged as if that were a device. You're going to have 2 levels of security to your data. You'll also have offline access to your content on desktop and mobile. Now again, if you're only going to be using the free version, you'll only have access to that content through the desktop. And lastly, you are going to have access to support if you have a paid version. If not, if you use the free version, you'll only have access to the Evernote community. Now, there are 3 levels of paid access, and it's a good idea for us to discuss that right now also. Now, there are 3 levels of paid access, and you're going to notice that they vary in price. Now, you'll notice that they vary in terms of how much you can upload at one time, 1 gigabyte versus 10 versus 20. And then there are certain features that are available in the premium level and the business level that are not available in the lowest level, which is the plus level. For example, if you want access to your PDFs and your Office documents by search, you'll need to get a premium level. Or if you're going to be adding notes to your PDFs when you categorize them, or if you're going to be using your notes as a presentation, you will need the premium level. And lastly, you'll need the premium level if you're going to be scanning and digitizing business cards. None of those features are going to be available in the lowest level of paid access, which is the plus level. Now, in terms of the business level, you'll notice that there is one significant aspect of this level that if you're going to be collaborating is going to be important. You're going to be able to work with others together in a single workspace. You're also going to have a single sign-on, and you will be able to administer the entire group or team from your Evernote account. So again, if you're going to be working with other people, you might want to try the business version. And in fact, in this course, we're going to start with the free trial of business, and then you can determine which of the features you won't be using, and then decide to scale down based on that use. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. Now in this video, we are going to set up our Evernote on our desktop or laptop. And you're going to notice at the top right-hand corner, you see a button there that says Try Evernote Business. Now, in order to try the maximum amount of features inside of Evernote, you will need to go and do the trial with Evernote Business. So let's go ahead and click that button. That's going to bring you to a page that's going to give you a button that says Start Free Trial. Now, when you start a free business account, Evernote assumes that you are going to be collaborating with another individual. So if you have another individual that you are going to be working with, perhaps you have an outsourcer or a teammate, you will also want to have their information handy at this point. So once you have all the information in order to initiate your account, you're then going to click Continue. Now when you start the trial, Evernote will actually give you access to free personal Evernote Premium for your team, but after the trial, you'll be billed $10 per user per month. The minimum number of users to get started with is going to be 2. Now you can do the same thing at $12 a month, and you can start by being billed monthly. If you determine that Evernote Business is not what you need, you can cancel before the trial is up. So once you have at least 2 users, and you've determined that you're going to be billed either monthly or annually, you can then place your card information inside of Evernote, and then you can continue the process. You should then have an email from Evernote stating that your business account is now created. Now, once your account is set up, you can then download the application onto your hard drive and then click the Install button. You'll get the opportunity to save the file on your hard drive, and then you can start the installation process. Once the application is installed, you can go to the link that says you already have an account. You can then write in your email, and then you'll click Continue, and then you'll write in your password. Your Evernote is then set up on your desktop. Evernote then suggests that you create a note, and this is just for the sake of being able to confirm that your accounts will be synced. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a quick note. We're now going to go and click New Note. We're going to give this note a title. So now that our note is complete, we'll go back to our dashboard. And what we're going to do is we're going to click the Sync button. When we click that Sync button, that means that we should find that our document, the one we just created, should also be on the web app when we go and look at it. And so we come back to evernote.com, we sign in with our email, and when we sign into our web app for the first time, we'll get a welcome message. We're going to just click Get Started. And what you're going to notice right away is that our note that we created on the desktop is now actually also on our web app. And once we've done that, we're now ready to start using Evernote. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. We are now working inside of our desktop app, and what we want to do with some of the content, whatever we have uploaded, we may want to share it with others. And of course, there are always going to be different levels of sharing. In some cases, you may want to make it public with a certain number of people, but not everyone. And Evernote gives you that option. So we would take this note that we're looking at, the one that says, Welcome Thomas Duncan, and we can go to the Note section, and we can actually go to this Share menu. And what we're going to do is we're going to click Share Note. That's going to give us a dialog box. And what you'll notice is that we can write in the names and emails of individuals who we want to see that note. Now we can give them certain privileges. As you can see here, we can give certain people the ability to view but not edit. We can give people the ability to edit but not view. We can actually give someone the ability to edit and invite others to actually see the note. So depending on how much authority you want to give to the people that you are going to be sharing the note with, you can determine that with this drop down menu. In this particular case, we can write in an email and we can write in a message that we want to use to give context to the note that they're about to see. What we can also do is we can create a link, and basically this is a hyperlink, and everyone that actually comes in contact with this link will be able to see it. We can also disable this shareable link by clicking this turn off button. Now the only person that will be able to see the note and work with it will be the person that we have determined by sending them an email. Now what we're also doing is we're determining how much permission a person has to see other notes in our notebook. So in this particular case, if we wanted to give permission to someone to see everything in our entire notebook, we can modify our notebook permissions here in this link. There are a few more choices that Evernote gives us. For example, if we were to click this link, you'll notice that there's the shareable link again and the internal link. What we can also do is we can send a copy. And that means that someone's going to be able to view a copy, but they won't be able to access the actual document to work with it. We can also share the very same document on social media, whether or not it's Facebook, Twitter, or LinkedIn. And once we've determined what we want to have in terms of permissions and the people that we want to share it to, we can then click the Share button. And when we do that, we need to confirm that the people that we are sharing with may or may not be involved in our business or associated with us, but yet we want to share the note with them anyway. Once we do that, we can click Confirm, and then our note will have been shared. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. We are now going to go through the installation process on our mobile device. And in order to do that, we are going to then look for the application inside of whichever platform we are using, whether it is an iPhone or Android or some other platform. We're going to look for the app, and if we search, typically we'll be able to find it on our device or in our app store. So we'll look for it in our app store, and in this particular case, what we will do is we will download the app. Once we have it downloaded, we will then open the app. Then we will use our login username and password. Once we have it entered, we will then click Continue. And you should see that the note that we created in the initial setup is now inside of our mobile device. Now to secure our data, what we are going to do is we're going to go to our account. When we do that, we're going to click Settings, and then we're going to go to our passcode lock. We're then going to turn on our passcode, and then we're going to enter a passcode that we are going to remember. Evernote will then ask us to re-enter the password, and now our extra layer of security is now in place. If you are a user of Apple technology, you can actually enable your account with Touch ID also. Once you've done that, you can exit by clicking the Settings link. And you can exit again by clicking the arrow at the top. Our mobile device is now enabled along with our desktop as well as our web app. If we have to sync our account, we will click the account link. We will then scroll to the bottom, and then we will click Sync Now. Then our account will be synced. To sign out of the mobile app, all you'll need to do is to click the Sign Out link. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Through Zapier, we can also integrate and automate our connection to the photo sharing site Pinterest. And you'll notice that Evernote and Pinterest interact in two ways. First, you can create Evernote notes from your actual pens. You can also append notes in Evernote from new pens that you make. So both are very helpful if you are actually tracking what you're doing in Pinterest. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the first one and we're going to start with that Zap. And so we're going to click Connect an Account. Zapier will need permission inside of Pinterest. We're going to say OK, and we're going to test our connection. Once Zapier determines that the connection is sufficient, we'll then click Save and Continue. Now we'll need to select a board from those that we already have in Pinterest. And once we select that board, we'll then click Continue. Once we have everything in place, we'll click Fetch and Continue. And then we will then go on to our Evernote account. We'll then create a note in Evernote. We'll test our connection again. We'll then click Save and Continue. Then we'll need to select a notebook or create one. So we'll use our email content and copy. We're going to give our note a title. We're going to provide some context with some additional text. If we want to use an advanced settings, we can do that. But we're going to, for the sake of time, we're just going to click Continue. Once we do that, we're going to test our note to Evernote. We need to check our test note. And we'll see our pen from Pinterest as well as the text that we added in for context. Once we do that, we can then click Finish. And we can decide to turn our Zap on. Now in the case of Twitter, you will have choices. For example, there are at least 6 Zaps that we can undertake. And there are also recipes that we can actually undertake with IFTY. So in some cases, it may be a good idea to also check IFTY so that you can discern whether or not you can actually do the automation without having to be charged. But in this case, as well as in the cases in other applications as time goes forward, you're always going to want to check both integrations before you create a new automation. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video. Hello and welcome. If you are allowing others to track your progress on a WordPress blog and you are sharing notes with them on a regular basis, you can actually connect your Evernote application to WordPress. And you can do it inside of Zapier. So what you'll do is you'll click the Post New Notes, and then you will then create the Zap. You will then create a new note. Your Evernote account should already be connected from previous applications. We're going to click Save and Continue. And we're going to choose a specific notebook from which to operate. What we're now going to do is we're going to click Continue. And then we're going to fetch the same information so that we make sure that our test is working. We can then click Continue. And now what we can do is we can create a post based on the note we create in Evernote. So now what we need to do is to connect an account. And so we will need to provide some login information. Once we have the information for our WordPress account, we're going to click Continue. We're then going to test our WordPress account. Once Zapier confirms that it has been successful, we're going to click Save and Continue. So now what we'll need to do is we'll need to write in a standard title. Okay, once we have all the information we're going to place in there, we're going to click Continue. And now we should find a post on our WordPress site when we send a test to WordPress. Once we confirm that Zapier has sent the post, we can then check our site. And we can now verify our automated post in draft form. Okay, so with that, thanks, and I will see you in another video.